You want answers?
What's that going to set up?
We've got to go to work.
It's the Strat Attack Show. But we're always wondering what the next two is.
Holy shnikes, it worked.
That's something I want to know about.
What's your name, scumbag?
Strat Attack Show.
We're on a mission from God.
Here's Rob Smith.
Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith. This is Smith in the Black. If it's Tuesday, you know what we do. We hop in the van here and we see what's going on. So, let's take a look what's going on here. Urban Assault Vehicle. So, one of the things we got going on here is we got this gap here on the SPY that no lower lows. And we just keep going higher and keep going higher. And we know that most things are 2 up in the month. And so with SPY, 212 up on the month. What we will do is gain more information once we have a lower low. Then we'll see who's strong and who's weak. Right now, a lot of things get caught up in the futures. You know, they're just grinding higher, grinding higher. But another thing that I like to do is, like today, is teach what we're teaching during the day. And what I mean by that is there's something called intraday time frame continuity. So, you know, we watch the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and the 60. However, we also say mind the flip. And so you can see this inside 15 here. And people are asking, like, could I get short before that? I'm like, no, because the 60 was still green. And then you see the flip right on the highs, and boom, down we go. So the question was, how far are we going to go? And you have this inside 60 here, inside 60 up, and then this is a rev strat. 1, 2, 2. The thing is, how far is it going to go? Because we know, basically, we want to stay long. Because the monthly and the weekly, still green. Daily, couldn't turn that red either. So we wanted to stay that, but for a short-term scalp, you could hit that inside 15. Because if that works, pivot machine gun. Anybody who's been long all day is long against stuff like in here. And that's 60 rev strats. 1, 2. And anytime you see a 1, 2 that gets reversed, these 2 bars become an outside bar of these 2. The question is, you're going to take this out. You know, and that was a tall order. Probably not. You run out of time during the day. So we close as an inside 60. So when we come in tomorrow, the question is, can we go down to here and take that inside 60 down, or inside 60 up, right? Because what we've been seeing is just grind, 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 because most things are up. We don't have much things on the downside. And so we're staying on the long side until proven different. You know, so what we'll see, once we have a lower low, and we did have it on the Qs very slightly. Here, they took out the lows, and they came right back up. So we're going to watch all the broader averages together, and we just weren't seeing the selling. You know, it's still holding the gap up. Now, if you start coming through here in the Qs, you start motoring through here, now you got my attention. You know, just a little slight lower low? Probably not, because the monthly and the weeklies and all that kind of stuff is still good, right? Still green, and most things are doing that. So, as far as we know, things are still good. You know, if anything, we've been waiting for this XLE. If this XLE can kick into here, then we go into hyper mode. Then we start moving out, right? But we haven't been able to do that. It's just been a grind, grind, grind. So still good, but you know, we still have a lot of inside months to the upside. SPY, boom, small cappers, boom. And so when people are saying, oh, you know, the sell-off came because we hit the 200-day moving average, I'm like, all right, some people might be jumping ship, but they might be jumping ship too soon. Because if we go back to the SPY, have we seen this before? We have. Here, pandemic, big 2, 1, 2, and then boom, right? So could we go back to the highs? Definitely. Definitely, because, you know, the thing about bad news is, you know, everybody's like, oh, the recession's coming and it's all bad. I'm like, the thing is, price action tells you what to do. If we're going up, we're long. That's it. You know, and until you can show me a lower low, at least on a daily, we're still good. But once that daily breaks, and we do have a significant break to the downside, if we have that, then we'll see what they really want to do. And when I say getting caught up in the futures, what I mean is that, if the futures are just keep going higher, a lot of stocks are just going higher with the futures. But once that breaks, then we can see who stays strong and doesn't do that, right? Or who starts to break the weekly lows, all that kind of stuff, where you have, longer term stuff like that. So we don't have too much stuff on the downside as right now, outside of really short term, right? 15 and 60. And that was a nice move. And that was a nice move because you hear me talk about exhaustion risk. And that's going into recent highs and minding the flip, saying, okay, now we got a new 60, and anybody who's long all day can be long where they got in or off these pivots. And boom, took them all out in one shot. Really nice. I saw somebody on Twitter, a new follower, just picked up on that and grabbed it, and that's a nice move. It's just a matter of the follow-through. Be like, all right, we're probably not going to have any follow-through, but, that's okay because you come down here and you got an inside 15, and there's your higher high. Boom, you're in from here as soon as it takes that out, and then you cover as soon as it goes inside up on the 15. Not that hard. That's your good scalp. So, on the upside, monthly, we got SPY, we got so much stuff. And people were asking me about. I'm like, that's an inside month to the upside. CCL, cruise ships, just barely inside up, but it's DraftKings. And you'll hear me talk about this in the weekend vid. There's just so much. SQ, Net, here, 212 reversals. And so, when people are looking for reversals to the downside on the dailies and stuff, I'm saying like, oh, we're hitting the 200 day. I'm like, well, what you're experiencing is a reversal to the upside on the monthlies. But that would have to change, and you're nowhere near doing that. What we want is big moves. And like I said, we can scalp and say, okay, SPY, okay, SPY, we can scalp you off the 15er. But in general, we know we're going to cover when this comes up because we haven't changed anything in the major scheme of things. So that's important. We've got some Fed speak tomorrow. That's important. Always we want to know what we might dry up in front of that. But are we anywhere near taking out monthly or weekly lows? That would have to happen. And, if we're going down, that would have to happen. Right now, we don't have no evidence of that. Right? That's it. So for tomorrow, coming in, can we make a lower low? Can we do that? Because we haven't been able to do that since this gap. And so here is a little tricky because it gaps up and then backs off, but it does it 3 on this, right? It holds, and then boom, boom, boom. They're coming in to buy, and so I'm in a lot of chat rooms where people are talking about, oh, this can't last and all this kind of stuff. Well, you got to remember, too, is that we watch price action. And this happened during lockdown pandemic. And we're like, oh, man, there's no way this market can rally. I'm like, yes, it can. We just follow the price action. Is it green? Is it red? Who's more aggressive? And we want to know about that. So if there's anything to the downside, we look at Moderna. Moderna has taken an inside week to the downside. So that tells us we want to watch BNTX, which is not quite there, and NVAX, any of the Vaxxers here, still not rallying with the market. Still an inside week, though, so we'll see, and maybe even Pfizer. Still inside week, but Moderna, the one that may lead the charge to the downside if these guys do come in, because we know Johnson & Johnson is coming back, but it's also inside month and down. But now it hit magnitude by taking this out, all right? But, if we start to turn, we want to see how these things act. AMN going 2-2 on the month here below this. 106.01, right? So you're below that. And if you go to the weekly, inside week to the downside. The 312. Now it hits the magnitude by taking all these guys out. All right? So we'll see if that continues. But what we really want to watch here, and one of the good things about August and doing 2 power hours a week, is that we get to talk about things on Monday and then come back on Thursday and say, what did we say and what happened? So we still have this broadening formation we're looking at. And until we have something major, we like to look for big moves. Now, there's people who just like to scalp and scalp and scalp, and that's fine, but we want big moves. And if you can have a big move, you're going to have to turn this week red because you are nowhere near doing it on the month. Right? But if you can take this down, then you'd have a Rev Strat month, and then we'd be looking for some September disaster. But we're not there yet. So first things first, daily. Can you make a lower low? All right. Now, so another thing we're watching this week is we got a lot of earnings in the retail, and today we saw a big move or a nice move in the XRT. A lot of retail going up, but we got a lot of earnings coming out there too. So we're going to be staying on that. How we do the mind the gap in the morning, and that's going to be if retail can stay strong. If we can get this energy to really turn around, then we start mooning. But that's yet to be seen. It's been kind of sitting here doing nothing. But that's what we're going to look for right now. When do we get the lower low on the daily? And then what happens when that occurs? How severe is it? Who is it that's driving us lower? And that's what we'll be looking for. So we'll do it for this week. I'm Rob Smith. And if it's Tuesday, it's the Strat Attack Show.
You've been listening to the Strat Attack Show.
It's over.
That looks like I'm running out of time again.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
And now for something completely different.
Yeah. Did you get that memo?
Let's go to Billy Baroo. Here's where they're buying.
Oh, behave.
Here's where they're selling.
Oh, righty.
I'd keep an eye on this. Is that a problem? It is.
You just don't turn it off.
I'm Rob Smith.
I hate Illinois Nazis.
I'm Smith in the Black with the Strat Attack.